What's going on, everybody? Perry here to my right, because this is a very special occasion for us. Saint Maud just came out, which is a film that's written and directed by Rose Glass. It's an A24 distributed film. I don't think it's A24 produced. It's more than likely not. But Saint Maud is a film that we've been looking forward to and planning to watch for nearly a year now.
Yeah, this review's a year in the making.
Yeah, we were supposed to watch this film back in April of last year, and now we're finally getting the chance to watch it. I believe it's available on, I think, not every state, but there's a good handful of states that are actually playing this in theaters at this point. I think Epix is streaming it or something like that.
Yeah.
So
February 12th is when they start streaming it.
Yeah, so, keep your eye out on this film because it's going to be available soon. Either way, I was highly anticipating this film. This was a film that I had really high hopes for. Not necessarily because, I really like the filmmaker or anything, because this is her directorial debut, right? This is the first film, this is her first full feature-length film.
Yeah. So
it's not like I hadn't tapped into the filmmaker. It's just the trailer was pretty alluring, and I loved its theme, and I loved the subject that has to do with religion. And when you combine horror and religion together, it can sometimes create just a hell of a monster of a film. So just with all that, I was like, okay, this is actually something that I'm going to be looking forward to. And obviously it's an A24 film, so I like a lot of A24 films. Not all of them. There's a nice handful where I'm just like, okay, this didn't really do it for me. But most of them can be pretty promising, and I do like quite a bit. With all that bullshit being said, after seeing Saint Maud, this is a film that I can see being pretty divisive, because even though I really enjoyed it, and I really like this film quite a bit for a lot of different reasons, I gotta say, this isn't really the most accessible A24 horror film. I would much rather recommend something like Hereditary or The Witch over this film to somebody who just wants to watch a horror film. Because this isn't a film that I would say is even really a horror film. I mean, it's definitely part of it, because especially the last 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes or so of this film, it's obviously trying to tackle the horror genre. But the vast majority of this film I would actually define as a dark psychological drama / suspense film, that obviously tackles religion and what it can do to your mind and how it skews reality in a lot of different ways. But I won't say that much because I want to let Perry talk, but just know that I actually really enjoyed this film quite a bit. It definitely lived up to what I wanted to get out of it and what I was and what I was expecting. And I'll talk more about it later, but I really enjoyed this film.
Yeah, like you said, you can really see people being really mixed on this. And to be honest, our reactions are completely different, because I don't hate this film. I would just best describe this film as serviceable at best. I think it's a perfectly competent film. It really is a mixed bag for me. But that's the best way I would describe it, as serviceable. It had definitely a lot of interesting ideas. But it's more so the execution of the ideas it was trying to explore that kind of let me down. I wasn't going into this expecting a full-blown, experimental horror film. But I've noticed that this type of film, it kind of, it's really trying really hard to pander to the A24 audience. It's one of those films that A24 picked up because they were like, oh yeah, our audience would really like something like this. It's experimental, it's psychological, but in terms of execution, the cinematography, I think for the most part is very well shot, and I do think it's a competently directed film. Even though I'm not huge on this film, I'm excited to see what other films Rose Glass makes. I think she's got a promising career. Who's to say? I'm sure down the line she'll probably make a great film. It's just I don't think this is it. I see a lot of promise, but I personally, I personally don't think this is it. I don't think this is that great, big directorial debut that everyone was expecting. I don't let expectations, kill enjoyment. I obviously tone back my expectation, and I obviously approach every, not just A24 film, but every film as its own animal. Sure, there may be similarities between a lot of different films, especially in this type of genre, but I never allow the production company who's behind it to skew my perception of the film.
Well, in a short sentence from the wise words of Howard from Uncut Gems, I disagree.
I knew you were going to say that. I disagree, Gary. I knew you were going to say that.
This film did a lot of what I appreciate in filmmaking, and I personally think that most of the execution is really well done. There are some things here and there that I thought could have been done better, especially certain things that happened in the third act of the film that try to tackle the horror genre. But overall, as a film, I really love the way this film tackles its themes. I love the way it explores its main character. And I loved how, like, in terms of the main character, it really shows you what can happen when you mix loneliness and religion and desperation together, and the kind of psychosis that can really create in this kind of character. And I just love I love the main dynamic between the two main characters in this film and what that, I guess, devolves into. And there's just a lot of, like, even the storytelling aspect I actually really enjoyed. The pace of this film is great. I was pretty much engaged from start to finish. And like Perry said, the camera work was, like, really, really, like, stunning and great to look at. I thought the framing was just the overall aesthetic production of this I thought was really on point. And sure, like, I can kind of see what Perry's saying when it comes to the fact that this is a film that does seem like it was intentionally made to please the A24 audience, even in the whole aesthetic department. But as long as it's, like, a genuinely good film, like, I don't really have a problem with that. And I don't necessarily think that this was this was a film that was intentionally made to just pander to an audience. Because again, I think that this film is going to be divisive.
I wouldn't say pander wholeheartedly, but I definitely think it was made with the A24 audience in mind. Very niche audience in mind. And I don't think this film is, like I said, bad or anything. Mm-hmm. I just think it's a film that imitates being a great film rather than actually being a great film. Because there were so many moments in this film, when I was watching it, it just made me want to watch other movies that have done what this film is doing, but way better. There was even one scene that made me think of Black Phillip from The Witch, and that just made me want to watch The Witch. It's one of those films where it's like this scene and that scene just makes me want to watch other movies that are, like I said,
more effective in the horror genre.
Exactly. Not just more effective in the horror genre, but just more effective in general. Like, you talk about the way the film deals with a religion and how that affects such a lonely person. It's like, okay, I'll just go. First Reformed.
No, First Reformed is not.
First Reformed is a great film, far superior to what we just watched. I don't like to draw too many comparisons to other films, but it's one of those things. It just happens to be one of those films where you're watching it, there's so many moments that you can't help but to think about other films. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know, man. First, okay, like, I know I'm probably gonna get crucified for this, but, like, First Reformed is a film that I didn't resonate with. I know that a lot of people do really like that film, but if you want to watch a great Paul Schrader film, just watch Mishima. Yeah, I just came out with a review for that film. I think that film is, like, on a whole other level. First Reformed has some good things about it, but honestly, like, I would rather watch Saint Maud any day than First Reformed. I mean, I don't want to go on a whole rant about First Reformed, but I just think Saint Maud kind of tackled the subject a bit better, in my opinion. I was more engaged by this film than I was with First Reformed.
I mean, not to pull away from like our Saint Maud discussion, but like I said, it definitely had some interesting ideas. And I don't mind that the themes are very like overt, like it's pretty obvious what the film is going for. It's just it's very black and white. There's not really like a gray area. It wasn't like, oh, religion bad, non-religious people good, but at the same time it was a little too condemning of religion as opposed to more accepting. Like, we've talked about films that explore religion in a more nuanced way, like Martin Scorsese's Silence or Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah.
Like, again, those films explore the idea of religion and how it affects an individual in a much more nuanced and clever way than Saint Maud did.
Because for me, it's like, granted, those films tackle it in a... First of all, they have a different goal in mind, obviously. Like, Silence, it's obviously trying to get people to understand, like, both sides of the coin. Saint Maud is going for a different approach. It's definitely going for something that's a bit more honest and straightforward. And it definitely isn't a film that's going out to say that there is an aspect of religion that is good. That's for sure. But I also feel like there was nothing dishonest about this film. And that's what I really, really enjoyed about it, because...
I mean, I do appreciate its brutal honesty.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about the way it fleshes out its themes, like, it's pretty straightforward and doesn't leave a lot to, like, this is not a film I would call thought-provoking.
Oh, I disagree. I think this is a very thought-provoking movie because, like, again, it really makes you think about what religion can do to a lonely person. And, like, throughout this entire film, you can see, like, the appeal and how genuinely destructive that can be. And I understand, like, it's not thought-provoking in the sense that it makes you think about, oh, is it good or bad? It's more of like, in this example, it shows you how it is bad and how it can lead someone astray, and in a horribly, like, fundamental way, it can really persuade someone's actions in a way that can be really horrible. And it just shows you that, like, again, and also, like, I can see the First Reformed comparison because it does show you that when somebody doesn't have this thing, which is obviously Christianity in this film, it leaves their lives into shambles, because Christianity is what created order in their life, and when that starts to fall apart, it's like they just start going into chaos mode and start being really self-destructive. And I really liked a lot of those aspects in this film.
Which, in a way, kind of doesn't work with this film, because Maud was already a disturbed person, before her world started falling apart. Like, she had a history of being, a very volatile person. Maybe it wasn't, like, very, like, beat you over the head, but it was very implied.
I don't know, that's what I got from it, because I don't want to spoil anything, but, like, the past that is revealed, it's basically, like, it just reveals that her line of work was really traumatic, and that she had, like, a horrible accident that kind of, like, ruined her image in a way. But it's not like this film conveyed that she was always a disturbed person, in my opinion. It just showed that she had a past that was disturbing, but it wasn't necessarily because it was, like, her fault, like she was, like, psychotic or something. So that's why, like, I don't know. But, I mean, that's the way I interpreted it. Maybe I missed something, but I didn't see this film as saying that, like, she was disturbing, like, pre-religious nut. But, I don't know.
Maybe I'm kind of reaching for that one.
I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe there's something I missed. I don't know.
Maybe I'm reaching for that one, and it's something that I think the film implied when it really wasn't.
I mean, like, granted, like, I'm not in love with this movie. Like, there are things about it that I thought could have been done better, like, especially in the third act. I think there was some use of, like, CGI that was just, like, it just, I don't know, I felt like could have been done better. And I get that it was probably purposeful, especially like in the last like 2 minutes of the movie, to where the CGI looks really phony, but that's because like the situation is phony. So like I get that was probably on purpose. But then there's some CGI when it comes to the actual like horror aspect that I thought like just didn't like work.
Right. But it was the thing is like the whole purpose of it was to kind of like explore Maud's mental state.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just really distracting when the CGI is bad, and it's like you couldn't have explored Maud's mental state without showing, I don't know, like a tornado and a beer, beer glasses, like just unintentionally, like
I could see that
funny moments like that just taking me out.
There were aspects in when it comes to stuff like that I wasn't really like particularly in love with. So I can agree there. It's just overall I found this to be a really satisfying experience, and I thought it was really engaging from start to finish, and I really did find this film thought-provoking. I found it more thought-provoking than you, obviously, but I like the way this film explored its themes, and I love its brutal honesty as well. It's obviously going for a different approach than some other faith-based films, but this is definitely a film that I admired in a lot of ways regardless.
I mean, like I said, it definitely has some interesting ideas. It's just like I feel it was a bit too style over substance. Like you're saying, it's thought-provoking, but I would say that I really got more wrapped up in the style of the film than what the film was trying to say, because I don't think it was like a very three-dimensional, like, oh, you can write an analysis on this film. Like, it was very overt of what the film was going for. And the ideas that it presented and the way the film explored those ideas is not going to leave a lasting effect on me, and it's not really going to make me ever want to watch this film again.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree, because like when I was watching this film, like my mind was really like running wild in terms of what I thought certain things meant and why the filmmaker chose to go certain routes with certain things, and I feel like I could write something up on this, but I mean, I don't know, maybe like some people will think this film is like much more obvious, but I feel like there's actually a lot to dive into when it comes to this film. So I don't know, I might actually write up something on this film just because I felt like there was a lot to talk about. But I mean, either way, that's neither here nor there. I'm ready to kind of give my grade on this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna settle on a soft 8 out of 10 for Saint Maud. This I think this film did enough for me to give it that 8. Again, like I'm not in love with this film, but I do think that it is a pretty well-made film that tackles a subject that I'm like really into in a way that I was satisfied with. So
interesting. Yeah, all in all, I would just, like I said, I'd describe this film as serviceable at best. Very interesting ideas didn't fully come together for me. I know we're notorious like art house film fans, so I'm sure a lot of people watching this are shocked. Being like, "What? He's not Perry's not in love with this film? Come on!" I'm sure you're shocked right now.
I was a little shocked. I thought you would at least like came out of, because after this film was over, like Perry was like silent. Usually it's not good, because usually when he's excited about a film, like he immediately starts talking about it. But he was kind of silent. So I was like, he probably didn't like it that much. So I was a little shocked. I was like, dang.
Definitely aspects I enjoyed of the film. And I mean, I don't regret my experience watching the film. I never regret doing a review on my favorite channel.
That is sweet. Look at this sweetheart over here. Trying to butter me up.
But unfortunately, I'm going to have to give this one a very soft, I mean incredibly soft, 6 out of 10.
Damn, bro.
But like I said,
broke my heart.
All the more reason that anyone that's curious about this film should check it out, because we're obviously on two different sides of the spectrum. So, I mean, reactions are going to be all over the place for this one.
But yeah, I mean, we're usually like on the same page when it comes to a lot of stuff. There's only like, I think what was the last film that we reviewed together? Was it The Climb?
No, it was Promising Young Woman, and we were on the same page for that. We reviewed it with Eric.
That's right. So you were on the same page for that. But I remember, it's funny though, because the last A24 film we saw, we were also like divided, because it was First Cow. And that was the last A24 film we watched.
Yeah, this is basically
like First Cow, kind of.
Yeah, this is our 2021 version of First Cow. You think it's great, and I just think it's fine.
Yeah, I love First Cow. Like, if y'all haven't seen that shit, go watch it. I hope it gets nominated for some Oscars. It probably won't, unfortunately.
It won't. Come on.
I mean, some people were speculating that it would, but since the Golden Globes, they didn't give it a damn thing. And now I just doubt it. Full stop.
The Golden Globes, the Oscars, all the jokes.
It's all the right. It's all an elite joke.
Right.
A bunch of out of touch elites who don't know shit about art.
I mean, I love the second half of First Cow. I'll sleep through the first. I'm just kidding. I would not do that.
Don't listen to this guy. Go watch First Cow. It's fantastic.
Form your own opinion. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, go watch a film and you'll find out how you feel about it for yourself.
Right, and then come back and say, Barry, you were right. You were right.
Son of a bitch. But yeah, I guess that's all we got to say about Saint Maud. This was a highly anticipated film. I think so far it's kind of divisive. According to some forums that I'm a part of, seems to be kind of divisive. Some people really love it. Some people just think it's mediocre. But overall, I think we both would recommend you to at least check it out so you can form your own opinion.
Of course.
But yeah, with that being said, I guess that's pretty much it. That's it for this video. It's pretty fun talking about a film that we were supposed to watch a whole damn year ago.
Yeah.
But either way, that's going to be it, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed what we had to say about it. And if you really enjoyed what we had to say about Saint Maud, give it that thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content. Peace.